What's up, Weekend Warriors? I'm back. It's about an hour before kickoff here on Thursday Night Football. I'm a content pusher. I push content. We had a special guest interview yesterday. Today I'm back for the predictions. What I like, a couple guys texted me, hey man, where's predictions? Where's the predictions? I can't get enough of them. I can't get enough of them. Biting their fingers. Can't wait to get the scoop from the commish. And all in all, we had a pretty good week one. Valone was on the interview last night, and he basically said he went 0-5 in his five leagues. I went 3-0 in my 3 leagues. Nail biter against Jake on Monday Night Football, and was able to pull it out. So happy about that. But quick recap from last week: Kevin, high score of the week, $25. He was notably saying that he didn't like his team after week one. Well, he had a pretty damn good week. I predicted him to lose, and he proved me wrong. So I was wrong about that one. Pearson did beat Valone. I predicted that correctly. The defending champion, 1-0 in 2021. Dean over Terry. I also predicted that. He won another nail biter thanks to Josh Jacobs. Brett over Otley. Otley had the worst week of any team. He scored 83. The next lowest was 112. Rogers really did him in, but it didn't matter. Brett scored 142.5, so the blowout of the week goes to Brett, and I predicted that game incorrectly. And then Chris, Chris lost to Kevin. Myself, I beat my brother as previously mentioned. So we talked about the fab pickups yesterday. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to jump into the matchups here in week 2. But first, I want to give you an update on the Turnersville Sportsbook. We got the over pick correct on Thursday Night Football. We were wrong about the Vikings -3. Joe Burrow, the giraffe, passing away. They rallied. They took care of business in overtime. There was a glimpse of hope there for the Vikings, even in overtime, to maybe push or even cover. Didn't happen. So I'm 1-1 on the year. Some people are calling me the Thursday Night King. I'm starting to hear murmurs about that. I know I'm undefeated on Thursday night, 1-0. So let's just wait. I'll give you a Thursday night pick. You all can lock it in. I'll make sure this video goes up with plenty of time for you to get it in. So 1-1 on my picks for the year, 3-2 with my predictions for the league. So with that, we'll jump right into it here. The first matchup on the slate, and it's a big one. We talked about it a little bit yesterday on the guest interview. It's Valone versus Jake. And both of these teams need a win. Valone said, hey, if you start 0-2, no big deal. Ask Chris T. You start 0-2, you win 12 in a row. No big deal. Either way, you'd much rather be 1-1. And Valone said a bunch of things yesterday why he wasn't scared of Jake's team. But, it's dicey. Right now, we're having Barkley playing tonight. You drafted him in the first round. You got to play him, but he is not 100% at 100% full speed yet. It's going to be interesting. Valone paid up for Elijah Mitchell. He's got him in his lineup. So some changes here for Valone. He had Debo on the bench, who you can't blame him. No one knew he was going to explode. He explodes. Now he's in the lineup. So some changes here in Valone's lineup. Jake's got a lot of similarities from last week. As Valone said, Gordon didn't do much besides a big run. Brandon Cooks had 100 yards. So you would think Jake's team would kind of due for maybe a little bit come back down to earth, even though he didn't have a great week last week. I'm going counter to that. This matchup, Lamar Jackson, I hate him. I think he sucks. He's good in fantasy. He's playing the Chiefs at home. He will put up points this week in fantasy. Melvin Gordon, we mentioned him. He's playing the Jaguars. He will get points this week in fantasy. Stephon Diggs, bounce back week for the Bills. Bounce back week for Stephon Diggs. Davante Adams, Monday night. Bounce back week for the Packers. Packers going to have a good game. Davante Adams, bounce back week. I'm actually going to go with Jake. He's predicted to lose in this matchup on ESPN. I respect what Valone said. I think Valone's going to have a good season. He's just going to have to do what he said last night. 0-2, no problem. Shake it off Taylor and move on. So I'm going with Jake here in week 2 to get his first win of the season. Moving on to the next matchup, it was a matchup of the week candidate, but Terry was in the matchup of the week last week, so it's Terry versus Pearson. Pearson has a deep team. He said that he likes his team. I like his team too. one thing about being deep, you got to make lineup decisions. He's got Sutton on his bench this week after the Jerry Jeudy injury, but he can't keep Antonio Brown out of his lineup, I guess, after the explosion he had last week. So he's got two A. Browns in his lineup, A.J. Brown and Antonio Brown. Russell Wilson, nuclear last week, playing Tennessee. Kyler Murray just threw 5 touchdowns against Tennessee. You got to like Russell Wilson in this matchup. So the one guy I'm worried about, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, do not draft list. I'm not list for me. I'm not taking a victory lap here on week 1. He had a down week, but this week he's at Baltimore. It's a tough matchup. So he loved scoring between 7 and 12 points for me last year and didn't cut it. At least you got him as your RB2. I had him as my RB1. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on him. Logan Thomas tonight. Pearson's expecting big things with Taylor Heineke. He's been telling me all day how good Logan Thomas is going to be. We will see, Pearson. We will see. For Terry, got to get better points out of Josh Allen. He only had 13 last week, and he should have a bounce-back game against Miami, but not a great matchup. Jonathan Taylor, going to be interested to see what he does against the Rams. He had a good week last week. What I thought was most interesting was his work in the receiving game. I'm looking at his numbers right now. He had 7 for 60. Uncharacteristic. Usually Hines is the pass-catching guy. So you got to love Tyreek Hill. He exploded last week for 33.5 points. Terry still lost. Deontay Johnson, CeeDee Lamb, very good players. But, Tyson Williams, they're going to start getting some more running backs involved in Baltimore. With that being a question mark, with the tough Jonathan Taylor matchup, with the Mike Davis at Tampa Bay matchup, which I don't like, I'm going with another upset. ESPN says Terry, 51%. I'm taking Pearson here in week 2 to go 2-0. Moving on to the next matchup, end of the Harding Curse versus Central Wildcats. Man, Otley had a bad week, and as soon as I predicted him to win, he texted me, "Oh, this isn't going to be good. The fix is in. The Turnersville Sportsbook has it out for me." Me and my dad were up Sunday night watching that game and texting each other back and forth. We just both wanted at the end so we could win, and we pulled out our wins. But, Mahomes, McCaffrey, and Metcalf, that leads this team. Yeah, Mahomes is playing at Baltimore. He's matchup independent, don't matter. Matchup proof for him. Be interesting to see what Robert Woods does. My boy Cooper Kupp for the LA Rams really did most of the damage. I hope that continues. 2 matchups I hate. Josh Jacobs at Pittsburgh and Kyle Pitts at Tampa Bay. Maybe he'll do something because they're throwing the football a little bit, but it's going to be a little bit more tough sledding there for Jacobs after he had 2 touchdowns. 2 pretty lucky touchdowns on Monday Night Football. Devonta Smith looks legit, though, so that's a good addition to Dean's lineup. We talked about it. Bounce back week. And I don't want to use that for everybody across the board, but I know Aaron Rodgers at home against Detroit is going to have a bounce back week. Dalvin Cook had an okay week 1 at Arizona. Not the best matchup. They have a good pass rush. I think the Vikings are going to try to establish the run and take the pressure off of Cousins and company. Jefferson at Arizona in the same matchup. The Vikings will be playing catch-up, that's for sure, at some point. I do like the Cardinals in that game to win. Mike Williams has in his lineup right now. Interesting start. He had 12 targets in week 1 and a touchdown. Historically, a tough guy to trust. And from waiver wire fodder to the lineup, he throws Gronk in his lineup. I'm going to go with Otley, DeAndre Swift, and Aaron Rodgers Monday night. Dean better have a 50-point lead going into Monday night. I think Rodgers is going to bounce back in a big way. And I think Otley's going to bounce back in a big way. So another upset, 47% chance for Otley, 53% for Dean. I picked 3 upsets so far. When last week, I guess I picked a lot of ESPN chalk favorites. So going with Otley in the battle of the brother-in-laws there in that one. So brings me to the matchup of the week. Pearson's father, Kevin, with the highest score of the week last week, and Keenan and L. Bert, the 4th highest scorer in the league last week. 2 really good teams. Before we get into that matchup, I'm going to bring you my Stone Cold Lead Pipe lock of the week. Not the Thursday Night Football game. I'm going to make you wait for that. But I just mentioned Mike Williams, and I'm going to be mentioning Austin Eckler and a couple other guys here in a little bit. Lock it in right now before it goes to 58.5. It was 54.5. Now it's 55.5. Dallas Chargers over. It's one of those games. Man, it's such a high over/under. How do you bet it? They're betting. They're daring you to take the over. Don't get suckered. There's going to be 60 to 65 points, maybe even more. As long as it's 58, 59 and a half, take it to the bank. Right now, that's my official pick. Dallas Chargers, 55 and a half. Take the over. Anyway, moving into the matchup here, another bounce back guy, Aaron Jones for Kevin's going to have a nice week. David Montgomery looked really good in week 1. Mike Evans scored 5.5 points last week, and Kevin had a huge week. He's going to play Atlanta this week. He will have a touchdown. Adam Thielen, good week last week. Corey Davis, good week last week. They might come back down to earth a little bit. And the flex position is the tough one for Kevin right now. He's got Waddle, who had a nice week last week, so it'll be interesting to see if he keeps him in. No real holes in Burt's lineup. He needs a bounce back from Zeke. I just mentioned that over. I think Zeke gets in the end zone this week. Keenan Allen, also in that game. Another guy I wanted to mention. I think he has a nice week. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a top probably 7-8 receiver this year. Stafford looked good. I said it at the draft when Brett picked him. It could have been one of those guys, surprise you. Why didn't we think about this? He's going to have a huge year. He had a perfect passer rating against the Bears. So I want to take Brett in this. I really do. Kev just finds ways to win games one way or another. He hates his team, and then all of a sudden he scores 195 points, whatever he always scores. I'm taking Kev in this matchup of the week. Two juggernauts, both teams poised for big seasons. I had Brett written down. I changed it to Kevin. I had Kevin written down and changed it to Brett. It's the toughest one for me to pick this week. I'm going with Kevin. Brett proved me wrong for the second week in a row. And that brings me to the matchup of the week runner-up. It's me versus Chris. We always do the cable guy scene, two friends forced to do battle, and we're always rooting for each other's teams. And then when we play each other, it's just constant FUs to each other and text messages and middle fingers flying around. So we're having some fun this week. But Chris has a good team. He scored 42 and lost. Scored 20 more points than me, and I won. So Chris, the bearer of a bad schedule to start. His third running back, Joe Mixon, had 33 touches. He has Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, and Austin Eckler. That is ridiculous. I said it last week. I'll say it again. Really, really, really good running backs. I thought he was weak at receiver, and then Jamar Chase comes out and scores 100 yards and a touchdown. So if him and Claypool and Julio Jones can bounce back against Seattle, which I think he will. Kyler Murray at home against Minnesota. I don't know how I'm predicted to win. I don't know how I'm 52% and Chris is 48%. But maybe because I think Derrick Henry's going to have a bounce back week. 9 yards in the first half last week. What in the world? The Arizona defense just dominated that game. They get it together this week. Derrick Henry will have a nice week. Brady, love Brady. Love him. He's going to play till he's 60. At home against Atlanta, him and Godwin keep it going. I think Godwin might be the receiver to own in Tampa Bay. I say this now. Evans has 3 touchdowns on Sunday. Cooper Kupp. Love Cooper Kupp. Go Rams. Like I said, him and Stafford can both be big surprises this year. Flex is a problem for me. Ayuk, don't know what the hell he's doing. Sermon, don't know what the hell he's doing. I hate Kyle Shanahan. I have voodoo doll of him right now. Right now I have Jacoby Myers in. Who knows what I'm going to do? I might play Trey Sermon, and maybe he'll come out and do something. Who knows? But I'm going to take myself to beat Chris. I mean, Allen Robinson, another guy to have a bounce-back week. But the main reason tonight, Thursday Night Football, everybody's like snooze fest. Ty's going to take the over again, isn't he? This is how you know. This is my pick. Could backfire. The Skins are a 3.5-point favorite. They just lost their quarterback. The game opened at 2.5 points with Heineke. And you would think everybody's like, they just lost their quarterback. Bet the Giants. Now it went to 3.5. It went the other way. They're begging you to take the Giants. Take the Redskins. -3.5. Don't smell it. Don't look at it. Just take it. Hold your nose. Take Washington -3.5. I'm the Thursday Night King. If we win this week, I'm going to start wearing a crown when I give my Thursday night picks. Chris, you're going down. I think I mentioned it. All we do is win on the Fantasy Football Podcast, Weekend Warriors. Guys, good luck in week 2, and the commission's out.